Are you ready to talk about money? Are you ready to delve into a deeper understanding of how money is you?
Everyone, it's great to see you here on this beautiful October. We are in October. Can you imagine? October already. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Reverend Laura Hallett, and it is my pleasure to be the spiritual leader for this amazing community. For those of you that may not know, this is our new building, which we are in the process still of getting permits to complete the construction of it. We have purchased it outright, so we own it. This is all ours right now, and so when we get finished with all this, we will be debt-free, which is a really good thing to have. So we're so excited about all of that. And that is tribute to you, to all of you, to the community that has maintained and sustained this place over the last few years while we've moved through our transition of going from in-person to online and from having a building to meeting where we can. And we are so excited to be actually on the physical grounds of our new location right now. So we couldn't be more excited. So we're going to go ahead and start off this morning. We have a little bit of music, and then that'll be followed by our invocation given by our practitioner of the day, Judy Petit. So I'll turn it over to Justin.
All right, thank you, Reverend Laura. This is called Grateful. You should have the words on your shirt. Grateful, so grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, so grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. Everywhere I look and every face I see is love reflecting, shining back on me. I just begin to and peace that gratitude brings. That's why I'm grateful, so grateful. I'm grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, so grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, so grateful. I am grateful for all the I am so grateful, so grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have.
Justin, she'll need the mic.
Good morning, while I find a mic. Welcome. My name is Judy Petit. I'm a licensed practitioner here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. And I'm so grateful for all of you that made it here in person. And if you're viewing online, I'm even more grateful that you're viewing online and joining us in this beautiful, beautiful connection on this beautiful, beautiful day. So let's begin with this week's affirmation. I will say part of it and then repeat after me, and then I'll say the rest of it and repeat after me. After that, we'll enter into a time of contemplation together, followed by this morning's invocation. I am always swimming in an ocean of infinite abundance. I am so grateful to know this truth, to know that there is only one presence, that it is right here, right now. It exists in each and every individual in this place, and in each and every individual that views it online, and in each and every individual everywhere at all times. This is love. It is peace. It is beauty. It is infinite abundance and divine intelligence. It is that creative, almighty power. It is joy. It is balance and harmony, and so much more. I'm so grateful to know that we have this beautiful time together, to listen, to learn, to be inspired, to grow. And I bless each and every person involved in this production, in this existence of the CSLGLV, in the growth and the progress that we are making. I celebrate this, and so it is.
Thank you, Judy and Justin. That was beautiful. And I'm just going to acknowledge this, and we're just going to know that it eases off. We do have a lot more traffic at 10 o'clock than we do at 9 o'clock. So, just saying. So we're just going to know that that just easily and peacefully tapers off a bit. Well, I want to say a special welcome to everyone. I see a few faces here I've never seen before, so welcome. Hope you come up and introduce yourself to us and find something here that really feeds your soul. We are all about empowering lives, transforming lives, and creating a way of living that is in harmony with everything that's around us. So each week here at Centers for Spiritual Living, we are working with, each month, we're working with a different focus area to support our theme of living everyday wonder. That's been our 2020 theme for Centers for Spiritual Living, living everyday wonder. And so each month we've looked at a different life structure and saw how we could use some of the principles and practices that we have to build a greater understanding, to clear out some of the issues in our lives, and to bring about a more harmonious balance in our lives in that specific area. So for the month of October, we are looking at our finances. Now, when I usually start to talk about finances, energetically I can feel some tension in the room. I feel a little clinching in the room whenever I talk about finances. So let me just be really clear. I am not talking about you giving me more money or giving the center more money or anything like that. I'm talking about how we can use. That would be okay. As our treasurer has said, that would be absolutely okay. And if it happens, we are so blessed. But I want to talk about how we live through these financial issues and financial worries and financial concerns and financial abundance that we experience in our lives, and how we can look at these things and bring about a different experience, to bring about a different way of being. So each month I like to anchor my talks in one of our principles. And so this month's principle comes from our core concepts. We have 10 core concepts that we study them in our classes and things like that to help us look at. These are universal truths that we hold true and hold dear in our movement here, and ideas that we are working with on a daily basis. And so the principle for the month is, this is a universe of infinite abundance, spiritual, mental, and physical abundance. The allness of good is limitless and can never be depleted. So we live in a universe of infinite abundance, infinite supply, infinite everything. We can look all around us and find evidence of this infinite nature of the divine as it's moving all around our world. This morning as I was sitting here, I was just thinking about leaves. And if we look around us here, we could never count the number of leaves here. I suppose if you were really determined, you could come up with a finite number of leaves. But that's just what's available right now. Because we know that within each one of these trees, as it loses its leaves over the year, over its lifespan, that within that tree is a limitless potential for more leaves. All of the leaves that are going to be formed on this tree already exist right there inside the tree. They're just waiting for their time to emerge. And so we know that just this one little aspect of nature is limitless. For the age of a tree, I don't know, these probably live 50, 60, 70 years, something like that. Can you imagine if each year it produces this many leaves? That each year they are there, and as the year progresses, the leaves change and grow and fall away, and new leaves come in. There is an infinite supply. We can think of so many things in our world that is really unimaginable in the number. Oftentimes we talk about the grains of sand on the beach or the stars in the sky. We couldn't even imagine counting those. Those are infinite in their abundance. But this idea of finance, this idea of dealing with our money, is also one of the areas that causes the most joy in our lives and the most struggle. It is one of those areas that, in one way or another, challenges everybody. Sometimes the challenge is we have too much and we don't know what to do with it. Sometimes the challenge is we don't have enough and we want to obtain more. But constantly there are struggles going on with challenges. As I was preparing for this, I read a report that said the #1 cause of the breakup of families and divorce in the world is money. Issues over money. Issues over finances. Issues over our struggle with them. Issues over what we think we should do with it and what somebody else thinks we should do with it. Or someone who does it and we didn't know about it, and all of those other things that can cause relationship issues. So finances, money, is one of the most tumultuous things in our lives. And there's so many things that are tied into it. Even when we think about our health, one of our concerns may be, do I have enough money to take care of myself, to take care of my health? If I get sick, will I have enough money to pay the bills? Is my insurance going to cover it? Am I going to have a huge deductible? As all of these things go on. So even if we think about money, or about health, we think about money. When we think about relationships, again, we get into this idea, does this person have the same ideas about money that I do as I'm entering into this relationship? Is this going to be a problem in our relationship that we have to deal with? So as we're looking at our life structures, money is tied into all of those. And you know, that has a lot to do with the world that we live in. We live in a society that is based upon financial markets, financial ways of being. We pay for things, we earn things, we exchange money, we exchange this flow of energy in the form of money, it's tangible form of money. And it can often cause a great deal of stress and struggle. So do a check-in right now. As I've been talking about this, go just turn within a little bit. You can just close your eyes and check in your body. Is there any place in you that's feeling different than it was when we started the service? Is there any place in you that feels like, I don't really want to sit and listen to this, or this is not something I want to deal with, or I just wish it was over? I know I get that a lot myself. Just check in and see how you're feeling. Now let's use that feeling. See if you can remember that feeling throughout the month. And as we move through the topics that we're going to explore this month, see if that feeling changes at all. See if you can get a more sense of freedom, a more sense of ease within your being as we're relating to money. So, in The Science of Mind, our textbook, our founder, Ernest Holmes, writes this. He says, God is spirit. Spirit is substance, and substance is supply. This is the keynote to a realization of a more abundant life, to the demonstration of success in financial matters. So understanding the nature of the divine, understanding the nature of God or substance or supply, because he uses all three words interchangeably here, can help us lead to a better demonstration of success in our financial matters. So how do we do that? How do we begin to get a better understanding of spirit, a better understanding of this universal presence, a better understanding of God, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. It's that concept of this universality, this infinite source of all. So when we're teaching our treatment classes, we start off with the first stage of treatment, which we call recognition. And recognition is all about understanding that infinite nature of the divine, understanding what God is and understanding how it works in our lives. And so when we're working with that idea of recognition, we often tell our people in the classes to make a big God. And we'll ask them the question, how big can you make God? How big of a God can you conceive? How big of a God do you believe is out there and existing out there? And so we work on ideas of this infinite nature of it, like I was just talking about the trees and the sand on the beach. These are ideas that help us get a clearer understanding of this nature of the divine. Another thing that we often talk about when we're talking about spirit is that it is like an ocean. And so the title for today's talk comes from our affirmation, swimming in an infinite ocean. We are swimming in an infinite ocean. And so when we think about this idea of this infinite ocean, you know that the ocean, I mean, we call them different things, but it's all really one body of water. It may have man-made boundaries from the Pacific Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico to the Atlantic Ocean, but there's really not a whole lot of boundaries around there. Some physical ones, but really all of that water flows together. And we know that all of the water that's on the continents eventually flows to the oceans in one way or another, even if it's evaporated and returns to the ocean through the water cycle. All of this, eventually, all of the water that is contained on this planet Earth is one thing. It's one substance. Now, we often talk about ourselves being a drop of water, that we are a drop of water in an infinite ocean. I think one of the problems that comes with thinking of ourselves as this drop of water is that we somehow think of ourselves as separate from it. That when we're this drop of water and we go into the ocean of the infinite, we still have the same shape, the same form, the same everything as the drop that originally went in there. But for those of you that are scientists or have ever played around with water even, you know that when you put a drop in there, it merges with the whole. It no longer has the boundaries of a drop. I mean, we can picture that, that drop of water, that teardrop-shaped drop of water. And we can think of it as separate and unique, but it isn't. Once it hits that water, it dissipates. So there's no longer any boundaries. But in our human world, we often think that when we are immersed in this ocean of the infinite, we're actually in a deep diving suit and we are self-contained and there's nothing going to get into us and nothing going to get out, and we just stay in this little contained unit. But that isn't what happens. We actually merge with it. Now, we know that in this world, this physical world, we are in these bodies. And these bodies have boundaries. But within the body is our soul. And our soul does not have any boundaries. It is boundless. It is limitless. It moves out from us. I'm sure most of us have had those experiences where we feel like we are moving beyond our bodies, where something is happening, we're not really sure what it was, but we don't feel like we've contained within this confined body anymore. Oftentimes this happens in our contemplation or our prayer or our meditation. We have these experiences of deep connection with something greater than ourselves. So these are the things that these ideas can help us really begin to get a bigger understanding of what God is. We know that if God is all of this, then it's all within me too. Now, we are not saying that I am God, as if I am the ultimate thing, but I am a part of that ultimate thing. I'm a part of that divine. And there is no separation between it and me. I am completely merged in it, just like that drop is when I put it into the ocean. Just like that drop of water becomes completely immersed in that one thing. This is what we call our unification. This is our second stage of our spiritual mind treatment, our prayer work. So first we acknowledge what spirit is. And then we recognize our connection with it. We unify ourselves with it. There are some certain tools and techniques that we can use to help us get a more clearer understanding of this, where it's not just an intellectual thought anymore, but it actually becomes an embodied experience. And throughout the ages, saints, prophets, mystical teachers have taught about one concept, and they call it practicing the presence. Practicing the presence. St. John of the Cross has a beautiful book, Practicing the Presence. One of my favorite authors, Joel Goldsmith, has a book called Practicing the Presence. And these are techniques that we can use to bring about that embodied experience of the divine in our lives. These are ideas that we can use to practice to have that more continuous feeling of being immersed in that infinite ocean. And so some of those practices come to us from many of the mystical teachers. And so I just mentioned St. John of the Cross, Catholic mystic. Joel Goldsmith, he was trained in Christian Science and studied the Bible and other spiritual texts in great detail. And both of them talk about the teachings of Jesus and how those teachings can help us have a greater understanding of the presence of the divine and how it works in us. So Jesus, as many of you know, taught through working with his disciples. He did sermons like the Sermon on the Mount, and he did parables. He taught in parables a lot. And so there are three things from his work that I wanted to bring up today that speak directly to this idea of being in this infinite universe. And so the first one comes from the book of Matthew, and it's on the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus says, "Your Father in heaven knows all these things are also necessary for you." Sometimes it's said, "Your Father knoweth that what you have need of, and it's the Father's good pleasure to give it to you." But in the Sermon on the Mount, he goes on to say, "But seek first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." So in this brief statement, he is directly telling us that everything that we need, Spirit already knows. It is already totally available to us. All we have to do is seek first the kingdom of God. And what does that mean? That means align ourselves with these spiritual ideas. Practice the presence. Bring this idea of spirit into our lives on a more consistent basis. One of the things that Joel Goldsmith does is he tells you to use little reminders throughout the day to help you remember that. So when you get in the car, you can say to yourself, God is the mind of every driver on the road. When you walk through a threshold, you can say to yourself, God goes before me and prepares the way. When you sit down to eat, you can acknowledge God in all of the ways that he brought this meal to you. And so these little things, these little tips throughout the day, help us keep our mind more on spirit than we would have otherwise done if we weren't remembering these things throughout our day together. The second teaching from Jesus comes from the parable of the prodigal son. And in that he says, "Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine." So in this parable, Jesus is reminding us that we are always connected to spirit, to source, even if we don't remember it. We are always connected. And everything that spirit has is available to us at all times. "Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine." We don't have to struggle and try. We have to remember. We have to remember our divine connection. And everything else will be added on. practice the presence, keep our mind stayed on God. And the last one comes from the book of John. Joel Goldsmith says that this is the fundamental teaching. It's the fundamental teaching of his work. It's the fundamental teaching of Jesus' work. It is the thing that once we master it, then we really don't ever experience the troubles and trials of this everyday world. It's taken me a while to understand this one because it seems kind of vague and simple. But Jesus is sitting in contemplation, and his disciples are worried about him. He's been sitting there a long time, and he hasn't had anything to eat. And so they walk up to him and say, Master, can we bring you some food? And Jesus says to them, I have meat to eat ye know not of. Just say it gives me chills. I have meat to eat ye know not of. And what this is saying is that there is a supply, an infinite supply, already contained within Jesus, that his disciples have not yet become aware of, because they haven't embodied it to the degree that he has already. In other words, I don't need to seek anything from external to feed me. Everything I have, everything I need, is already within me. I have meat to eat ye know not of. And once we can really begin to embody that and to really live from that place, then things begin to shift in our lives in a greater and greater way. And there are all kinds of practices that we can do to help us get to that place. As we are practicing the present, we can do our spiritual mind treatment, our prayer work, affirmative prayer work that we do. Knowing the truth of the situation, knowing the truth of ourselves, recognizing the infinite nature of the God, aligning ourselves with it, and living from that place of infinite abundance. We can sit in contemplation on words like, I have meat to eat ye know not of. We can contemplate that, take that into meditation, into the silence, and say, what does that mean? What is he talking about here? And what is it, the meat that I have within me? We can do it through our service to other people, because when we are in sacred service, we are giving of ourselves from a place of infinite supply. I don't know about you, but most of the times when I'm in sacred service, I never get tired. I am so jazzed, I'm so wired while I'm doing this, giving back to somebody else, that it doesn't deplete me at all. In fact, I found early on in my experiences here at Center for Spiritual Living that if I was in a dark place, a bad place, I was mad, I was in a bad mood, whatever, if I used to go to the center and do this, but if I'd go to the center and put myself to work there, my mood lifted. Everything just became simple and easy for me. Sacred service is so powerful. And there are so many ways that we can give of ourselves in our world today. Even if it's just opening up the door as you're walking into a store for somebody behind you. It feels good. It enlivens us. And it puts us in the flow of this infinite abundance because we're giving from ourselves. Another sacred practice we have is the practice of tithing, where we give from an understanding that my bank account is not my source, that my job is not my source, that the money I have in my wallet is not my source, but I give from a place of this infinite abundance. And it moves through my life and exchanges itself for an energy that then moves through me and brings more abundance back into my life. So when we practice these spiritual practices that we have, meditation, contemplation, study, prayer, sacred service, tithing, we begin to get a better understanding, a more embodied understanding of the infinite nature of spirit and the way that it works in our lives. And so throughout this month, we're going to be looking at finances in different ways, finances in different aspects of it. And we're going to have some fun with it. Because finances, as I said at the beginning, can be a struggle for most people. So let's have fun with it. Let's turn it around and bring some joy into it and see what we can do. So I've been using a couple of different books to do my work here. One of the books, one of my favorite ones, is Eric Butterworth's Spiritual Economics. Eric Butterworth comes from the Unity movement, and this is a powerful reminder of spiritual truth. It's a great book that we've used in some of our classes here. He says that when we establish ourselves in the consciousness of God, the whole universe moves to flow into us with its abundance of life and substance. So again, when we can keep ourselves in the presence, practicing the presence, reminding ourselves continuously the presence of the divine moving through us, acting out through us, living its life through us, then we keep ourselves in the flow. And, you know, circulation is really good. And so we like to be engaged in that. And so I encourage you to use some of the things that we're going to be working with this month. Our Wednesday night services are all based on a really fun book that I found called Money Magic. And it is different practices to clear away some of our money issues, to clear away some of the things that might be inhibiting us. I have a fabulous guest speaker who's doing the talks. She is the new reverend, just is paneling for her license, and she's from England. So she's got a lovely accent, so it's fun to listen to her. She's very enthusiastic about the topics. So join our Wednesday evening services on video on our YouTube channel for Laura Topper's look at the book Money Magic. In next Sunday at the Enterprise Library on South Las Vegas Boulevard, I'm going to be doing a workshop where I've pulled a few of those activities out of there, and then I've added some of my own fun activities. Like I said, just to look at our money issues and clear those away and see what we can work through in our lives. And so consider joining us for that. And so just, as I said, just find the different ways that you can connect. Our YouTube channel has our fabulous meditations on there. I am pretty darn sure there's one on there about abundance. I can't imagine that there isn't. I didn't look, though, before I left, so I'm just going to know that's there. There is.
I did one on abundance.
Thank you. Justin did one on abundance. We are good. So, you know, look for those. Find those things. You know, if you're having difficulty, because one of the things that's, I guess, unfortunate, maybe not, it just seems to be tough to move through sometimes. When we start to talk about these things, everything that's a problem shows up in our lives. So I'm just kind of give you a warning disclosure there. It's like, you know, what is that? Everything unlike it shows up to be healed. And so, you know, if you start to find that you're having some issues with that, please reach out to our prayer list. We have an online prayer request on the website, or we have our phone numbers for our practitioners available there. And you're also welcome to call me on the line that's posted on the website. So reach out for prayer. It's a powerful tool. So let's do that right now. Let's do a little prayer. Go into our spiritual mind treatment, our affirmative prayer. And as I've already mentioned, we have the first stage of recognition, to just simply acknowledge spirit, and then align ourselves with it in unification. We state what we know is true, we give thanks for it, and we let it go. So if you would, just turn within. And so right here and right now, I know that there is only one power, one presence, one divine creative source of all. That one is infinite in nature. It is abundance, prosperity, omnipotence. It is the allness and the isness of this entire universe. I know that nothing exists outside of this one. This creative, loving intelligence that has brought forth everything into existence. And because I know there's only one, I know that I am one with it. I know that that infinite abundance resides right at the heart of my being. That the nature of who I am is one of opulence, prosperity, wholeness, and richness. And as I know this is true for me, I know this is true for each one of us. For each one of us is that perfect emanation of the one. endowed with all that God is. That creative intelligence moves through us in all that we are and all that we do. And so in complete realization of the power and the presence of the divine manifested as all, I speak my word. I know that each one of us is fully immersed in this infinite ocean of abundance. It is the truth of who we are. And it is in this recognition of that truth that our lives unfold in an opulent and rich way. Whatever way that is for you, for each one of us, that is the truth of who we are. That we exist inside of this universe filled with all of these magnificent creations. That there is an unending source moving through us at all times. This energy, this flow that we are immersed in is continuously pouring forth from us, circulating itself back through us, and showing up in all of our affairs. And oh, how grateful I am to know this, to feel it, and to see it in action. And I just give thanks for knowing this. I'm so grateful to see the power and the presence of the divine manifested as each one of us. I'm so grateful to see it in this new building that we have here before us. I know that it is right now creating itself as a magnificent space for everyone to inhabit as we move through our spiritual journey in life. And so I just release this word, knowing it is done, I let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Oh, I got to move back. We were anticipating 75 degrees today, not 85, but it's okay.
Yeah, not yet.
So we're going to go into our sharing of our tithes and offerings. And so if you would, just take out your offering. If you give electronically or send us a check in the mail, just hold your hand over your heart. Otherwise, if you're giving an offering directly today, would you just hold that over your heart? And just give it a silent blessing, knowing that the infinite source of all is represented in this gift today, and that it moves forth from you easily and effortlessly, blessing and touching all of the lives that it is exposed to. And so if you would, repeat after me. This gift I give goes forth from me, does amazing and miraculous things, and returns to me in kind, pressed down and overflowing. And so it is. Justin has a song for us.
All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me, blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me, blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me, blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me, blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me, blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me and blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me, blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me, blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me, blesses me abundantly. All I give comes back to me, blesses me abundantly.
All right, just a few announcements before we finish up. Katie Lingo and I attended the Interfaith Council meeting on Thursday, and they gave us the information about the Interfaith Forums. They are back in person this year. Yay! No more on Zoom for those. So there are 3 forums going to be held. These are discussions around a specific topic from 6 different faith traditions here in the Valley. And so they choose different ones for different topics. So the first topic is, what do you most want people to know about your faith? And so this will be held at the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints on West Charleston. The second topic is, when my religion says a fetus is a person. This ought to be an interesting topic because I know there are a lot of different opinions about that. And then the third one is, which of your faiths or traditional beliefs do you consider to be universal? And so we'll have different speakers from the Interfaith Council here in Southern Nevada speaking on these topics. They're fascinating opportunities for you to get a broader perspective on other faith traditions. And actually, what I find when I attend them is I find more commonality than I ever do differences. So it's a great opportunity. There are brochures up here, if you'd like to take one with you, that gives you the details about all 3 of the forums. All right, we are starting to form our service teams. And so we've had a few key volunteers who have been so instrumental in keeping us moving throughout our time when we were at the school and when we have been online. And we'd like to add some more volunteers to that. So up here on the table, I have 2 sign-up sheets. One is for welcome committee, so that would be like ushers and greeters and things like that. And the other one is for a setup takedown committee, so a team. So if you're interested in sacred service in either one of these areas, just please give us your name and information, and we'll contact you about that. We have people who are leading those teams, so if you're interested in being part of it, please let us know. Also on the table, if you had not had an opportunity yet to write a blessing for our new building on a stone, we have the stones up here. There's still a few of them left. These stones are going to be buried in our foundation, so you actually become the foundation of our center. You actually become that. So put your name on one side if you like, and put a blessing on the other side. There are markers and stones up here for you to use. So please, if you haven't done one yet, please do one. Our sacred circles are off to a great start, thanks to Judy Petit and all the wonderful effort that she's been putting to that. We so appreciate that. Justin's online book study has been going on 2 weeks now, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Studying the work of Joel Goldsmith, who I mentioned in my talk. It's called Tuesday Vespers. It's a drop-in group, so you're always welcome to do that. Currently, they are reading the book, The Altitude of Prayer. So you might want to read ahead. I think they're probably, what are you on, about chapter 6?
Yes, 5 and 6.
5 and 6. So read 1 through 6 if you haven't read it so far. We have an in-person sacred women's circle starting by Lori Cardillo over here. So Lori is going to be hosting this at her home. So if you're interested in joining a group of like-minded people to explore spirituality in a different way, please consider joining that. All of the information is on our website about that as well. And we have another spiritual study group with Karen Dunphy and Reverend Charlotte that's going to be how to speak science of mind? How to use the science of mind. So it's going to be based on our work. It's called Discerning Spirit is the name of the group. So it's a sacred study group. And so if you're interested in signing up for that. We also had some interest in a meditation group. That's in the process of forming. So, and then I think we have another round of groups starting next month. Judy?
If I can get, I'm working on that.
You're working on that, okay. So we're adding groups as we go. So please keep an eye out for that. If you're interested at all in meeting in small groups. We call them sacred circles, our small group ministry. We have an online survey created by Kelly Marshall to find your interests. And if you fill out the survey, then when those groups are ready to form, you'll be sent a notice letting you know when they're starting to form. So go onto our website and fill that out on there. And one other sacred circle that we're starting is on Tuesday night. Justin and I are starting to form a supper club. And so we're going to meet at local restaurants. You order your own food, you pay for your own food, and we get together and have a little fellowship with each other. I'm thinking of it as what we used to do on Sundays in the social hall, but we're doing it at a restaurant where somebody else gets to cook for us. So our first one is Tuesday night at 6 o'clock at the Hush Puppy on West Charleston. Please, if you can at all possible, bring cash with you. They've told us that the most they'll do is give us 5 bills, so that wasn't what they told us when we were there. Right, Justin? But if you can bring cash, that'll make it much easier to pay for your food. You need to RSVP that, though. Excuse me. Many people expressed interest in attending this, but we need an actual RSVP. We need an account. And please, if you RSVP, please show up, because it doesn't look good when we go into a restaurant, we tell them we're going to have 25 people and 10 show up. So please, if you RSVP, please do everything possible to show up that night. All of that information is on the website. And I already mentioned this before, but our Money and Magic workshop is on Sunday, next Sunday, the 9th, at 1 o'clock at the Enterprise Library. Please register for that also on the website. I need to have an accurate count because I'm making up packets of material for people, so I want to make sure I have plenty for that. There is no cost for it, and we are guaranteed to have fun playing around with money. So I'm calling it Money and Magic because, magical things happen when we start to clear away our crap. So let's just take an opportunity to do that. All right, I think that completes our service today, and look at that, it's under an hour. I'm getting good here. So we're going to stand up and sing our song, our community song, Together We Rise. So if you join us with that.
Yep. Together we rise as the sun lights up the sky, opening our hearts to the spirit of love inside. Together we rise, God flows through you and I. Together one in spirit, we rise, we rise. In times of struggle, we seek the Spirit of God within. Receptive to our calling, we love our neighbors and our friends. Relaxing in the knowing God's grace, it never ends. We gather as one people and with joyful hearts we sing. Together we rise as the sun lights up the sky, opening our hearts to the spirit of love inside. Together we rise, God flows through you and I. Together one in spirit, we rise, we rise. As we stay in gratitude, we let Spirit lead the way. Listening to the still small voice, it's always there to say, trust in God with all your heart, the path ahead is clear. We unite together and there's nothing for us to fear. Together we rise as the sun lights up the sky, opening our hearts to the spirit of love inside. Together we rise, God flows through you and I. Together one in spirit, we we rise, we rise. Together we rise as the sun lights up the sky, opening our hearts to the spirit of love inside. Together we rise, God flows through you and I. Together one in spirit, we rise, we rise. Yeah, thank you everybody. Have a good week.
Next week, everyone. We'll see you. Our next in-person service is the 16th, right here. Next week we will be online, so join us on our YouTube channel tomorrow morning, next Tuesday, whatever, Sunday. Thank you, everyone.
It might seem